So, got a question. Can Wi-Fi interfere with the wireless system in your church? The answer is yes, if. Want to find out? Let's go!
Welcome to Midweek Service provided by the Church Sound Podcast. This is our version of tech news with your host, Prentiss Thompson. Have you ever wondered, how do I mic a drum set, or what about getting audio to my live stream? We're here for you. This is tech news, new product reviews, and everything you need to know about what you need to know. Welcome to Midweek Service.
Yes, welcome to another edition of the Church Sound Podcast Midweek Service. I am your humble host, Mr. Prentiss Thompson. And what we do every week is product training, product reviews, and training applications for those of us who work in church doing AV, or what we call AVL, which is audio visual live ministry. So if that's what you do, and you want to learn something, you're going to learn today. You're going to learn today. So the question is, can Wi-Fi interfere with your wireless mics? And the answer is yes, if. So before we get into, let's rewind. Let's take it back. Let's go back into time. We Neanderthals. Let's go back into time. So, understanding that what a wireless system does is transmit on frequencies, tunable frequencies, which is what we call megahertz, or the frequency range of the megahertz, all right? So how did this start and how did this begin? It actually began with radio, but after radio, there came television. And now television, which first arrived, I just blew my mind when I found out, in 1927. So think about this. It's almost 100 years the TV was invented. Look how far we've come. This explains a lot on our opening question. So, early TV days, and it's still going on, the United States television airways were divided into two bands, which are the UHF band, which is the ultra high frequency, and the VHF band, which is the very high frequency. Now, the VHF transmitted between channels 2 and 13. Now, in New York City, when I was a kid, there were like 3 channels when I was a bit child. I'm going to severely date myself right now. Severely date myself. So when I was a kid, it was channel 2, channel 4, channel 7. Later on came channel 9, then came channel 11, then came channel 5, and then you had channel 13 was your public television network, PBS, right? Then in channels 14 to 83, which is normally like 31, 32, 33, around those was like your Telemundo, your Spanish stations, or your just weird stuff you would catch late at night. You know, I grew up in a time when TV went off. Be off. No TV. Go to bed. I know. I tell that to my son. He says, "What do you mean TV went off?" Okay. So understanding that these frequencies were tunable, meaning that I had to tune to channel 2, I had to tune to channel 4, and remember you had antennas attached to your television, and these antennas would receive the signal from these large antennas in the city that would transmit that signal to a television that had an antenna that was allowed it to tune to that frequency. That's television. Well, those same frequencies are what navigate your wireless systems. So, I'm pretty sure that you've gone and purchased your first couple of wireless systems for your church, and you will see UHF, and you will see frequency ranges between 400, 500, 600, 700. So let's back up to what the FCC did. Who are the FCC? The FCC is the Federal Communications Commission. And in 2017, they auctioned off the 600 megahertz range. And the auction yielded about 19.8 billion in revenue, including 10 billion for the winning broadcast bidders. Who were those bidders? They were your cell phones. Your cell phones. T-Mobile, AT&T, Sprint. Just in 2008, the FCC auctioned off the 700 megahertz band in 2008, which to mobile wireless companies, because the day and the age that we're in, they need more bandwidth to operate. So the same bandwidth that your television is transmitting on is the same bandwidth your phones are transmitting on. Okay, so understand that these frequencies and receivers are all attached. I look at it this way. If me and you were playing catch and I had a ball and a glove and you had a ball and a glove and I'm the transmitter and I'm throwing the ball to the receiver and you're catching it, it's the same premise. In order for you to have a solid transmission, you have to have a solid receiver. In this case, the receiver is a television and the transmitter is the actual station. The television station is transmitting it to the receivers. Okay, so now let's get back to the wireless system. It's going to be a little lengthy, a little longer than I usually do these. So I just want to so I can drum this thing in. So now I go to churches and I assist them with their audio, visual needs, and I give them consulting and I'm training and things of that nature. A lot of times I go to churches and they don't understand why some of their wireless systems aren't working anymore. And the reason why they aren't working anymore, because they're not legal anymore, because they have not invested in purchasing new wireless systems. And these wireless systems have been working for years, and they should have been working for years. But since the FCC auctioned off the 600 band and your church have a bunch of wireless systems that were in the 600 band, and now you're getting ticking and static and buzz and hum, and it's not clicking, it's not connecting well. It's because it's now fighting with the mobile providers for that space. And it's actually illegal. Yeah, it's illegal. You can take that same system out of the country and you'll be fine, but inside the United States, where these same frequencies are governed and controlled, these are the issues you have. So how did manufacturers navigate that? So now the new UHF band is between 470 and I believe 608 megahertz. That is the safe way. That is the safe UHF frequency range. VHF is all the same. So you'll find you get some success with VHF systems as opposed to UHF systems because of all the battle that's going on to be able to get your signal to be solid. So what happened? So now, in order to navigate this, companies started making systems in what we call the 2.4 gigahertz range, which is digital. And the pluses with that, there is no FM modulation, which happens in your UHF and your VHF, right? So these frequencies now 2.4 gigahertz range, which is above your UHF, above your VHF. So what lives up there? So let me give you the pluses about this. So the first plus is it's no FM modulation, which usually happens in the UHF and the VHF. Right? Got that. It won't be as expensive because they're operating it with smaller wavelengths and smaller antennas, and you can pack in more features and components because it's a digital system, and keep this at the same price point. What are the cons? So, in order to operate safely within the 2.4 gigahertz range, the companies will tell you can operate 8 systems safely, but you really I would say 6 is pushing it. So think about this. 6 wireless systems in the 2.4 gigahertz range, you're going to have an issue because it's digital and because what's up there is what? So I'm pretty sure on everyone's phone, you have this thing that looks like antenna, and it's your Wi-Fi. So now you go into a church, right? And they do the mistake of giving everybody access to the Wi-Fi. So the Wi-Fi is hot. You got 100 or so more people in there, all on the Wi-Fi. So getting back to our original question, can Wi-Fi interfere with your wireless signal? The answer is yes, if you're in the 2.4 gigahertz range, because there's a lot of things going on with the smartphones. It's a very hostile area. So what's the first thing? Well, the reason why controlling interference with Wi-Fi is difficult is here are 2 reasons. The first one is Wi-Fi sends out rapid bursts of RF, which is consistently, unpredictably hopping frequencies. So it's not like your analog transmitters and your UHF and your VHF, where it stays on a single frequency. Wi-Fi hops around to find a frequency. Secondly, like I said earlier, Wi-Fi is everywhere, used by everyone, and controlled by a few people. So the answer is yes, if. So what do I say? I say you can use all these systems, but you have to learn how to use them correctly. If you know you're going to use a 2.4 gigahertz system, you know that don't use more than 6. Don't. Can you mix and match? Yes. What you don't want to do is give access to everyone to the Wi-Fi in your church. That's what you don't want to do. Especially if you're using a separate router for your mixer and a separate router for your live stream. You want to make sure that it's separate and no one gets on it. So to answer your question, I know this is pretty long and pretty lengthy, but I kind of wanted to bang the drum and get this nail in the coffin so that you guys can understand the importance of understanding your wireless systems and how understanding can bring clarity. Understanding and sonic clarity. Well, I think I said enough. Like, subscribe, review, make sure you hit the notification button, and I'll say like I always say, I will see you in the Matrix.